The sharp crack of breaking glass tore through the stillness. David's fingers quivered as he held onto the whiskey tumbler, his eyes locked on the divorce papers strewn across the kitchen counter. The house, once a pristine reflection of 12 years with Emily, now felt more like a cell. Every shadow in the room seemed to murmur betrayal. 2 nights earlier, Emily had stood in the very doorway where he now stared, arms folded. "I'm going on a date, David," she had said. The word date slid from her lips as casually as if she were announcing a quick trip to the store. David had laughed, an empty, icy sound laced with disbelief. "A date?" he'd repeated, dragging out each syllable. "With who, or should I ask how many?" Emily didn't blink. "His name is Eric. He's a coworker," she replied, her tone light, almost conversational. I need this. I need to feel alive again." Alive. The words struck him like a punch. Had 12 years together, paying the mortgage, weekend getaways, and laughing over coffee in their sunlit kitchen, not counted as living? Or had it all been a lie? "Do you even hear yourself, Emily?" His voice shook, fury tightly leashed. "You're married. You made vows. Does that mean nothing?" She shrugged, her cool detachment cutting deeper than any insult. "I've given you everything, David. Now it's my turn to have something for myself." He didn't argue, not because he agreed, but because he knew there was no winning a fight with someone already burning the bridge behind them. Instead, he gave her a final warning, his tone low and glacial. "Do what you want, Emily. But actions have consequences." The next morning, David woke early, his resolve hardening in his chest like stone. This wasn't just betrayal. This was war. If Emily wanted to destroy what they'd built, he'd make sure she felt the sting of every shattered piece. His day began with precision. A professional cut replaced the shaggy hair he'd neglected for months. A tailored navy blazer took the place of wrinkled shirts from his complacent years. His battered sedan gleamed after a thorough wash, mirroring the man he intended to become. By the time Emily appeared at the top of the stairs in a tight black dress that screamed desperation, David barely looked at her. She hesitated, clearly expecting a flash of jealousy, but got nothing but indifference. "Going somewhere?" he asked coolly, grabbing his keys. Her lips twisted into a scowl. "What's that supposed to mean?" David smirked, sharp, cold, deliberate. "Exactly what I said. Enjoy your date, Emily. And remember, there are always consequences." Before she could respond, he was gone. David drove to a quiet wine bar on the edge of town, where Rachel, a coworker he'd grown close to over the last few months, was waiting. Their friendship had always been strictly platonic. Until now. Emily's betrayal had stripped away his restraint, and suddenly he saw Rachel differently. She smiled when he arrived, warm and genuine, like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. "David," she said softly, a trace of concern in her voice. "You look different." "Different how?" he asked, sliding into the seat across from her. She studied him for a beat longer than necessary. "Confident. Focused." They ordered wine, and the conversation flowed effortlessly, a welcome antidote to the chaos he'd left behind. For the first time in weeks, he laughed, a deep and unguarded sound that even surprised him. But as the night went on, a darker determination settled in his chest. This wasn't just about moving forward. This was about making sure Emily understood the weight of what she'd done. If she wanted to play games, David would make sure he rewrote the rules. Emily came home late, her high heels tapping sharply against the tile. She stopped when she saw him in the living room, calmly sipping scotch. "You're still up?" she asked cautiously. David's eyes met hers, cold and unwavering. "How was your date?" His tone was flat, unreadable. A flicker of guilt crossed her face. "David, I don't." He cut her off, setting the glass down with a sharp clink. "I don't care where you went or what you did. But you'll care soon enough." Her brow furrowed. "What's that supposed to mean?" David stood, slow and deliberate. "It means you've made your choice, Emily. Now I'm making mine." The next morning, Emily woke to an empty bed. On the kitchen counter sat an envelope. Inside, the divorce papers and a short note. Actions have consequences. Enjoy your freedom. But freedom wasn't what awaited her. David's plans were already in motion, a chain of events meant to strip away every comfort she had taken for granted. He stood outside Lucas's law office, a manila folder clutched in his hand. Inside, bank records showing unexplained withdrawals, phone logs with late-night calls to unknown numbers, and a handful of well-chosen photographs, enough to prove her infidelity without revealing just how prepared he truly was. Lucas greeted him with a firm handshake. "You've always been level-headed, David. So what's driving you this time?" David's gaze hardened. 12 years of lies. 12 years of giving everything to someone who decided I wasn't enough. I want her to see exactly what she's thrown away, and I want her to feel it. Lucas leaned back, a faint smile touching his lips. "Then we're not just filing for divorce. We're going for blood." Emily's morning began like any other, coffee in hand, scrolling her phone, until a message from her boss made her stomach twist. "Come to the office immediately. We need to discuss your position." She arrived to find David waiting in the lobby, a calm but chilling presence. Beside him sat a private investigator, expression unreadable as he handed her a folder. Her hands shook as she opened it. Inside were photos of her and Eric in compromising situations from the past month. Beneath them, a detailed timeline of her nights working late or meeting friends. "You had me followed," she whispered. David's voice was like steel. "You left me no choice." "Every choice, Emily. It carries consequences." Her boss stepped forward, clearing his throat. "This is a breach of company policy. Your employment is terminated, effective immediately." Emily felt her entire world collapse. David walked away without saying another word, leaving her to deal with the wreckage on her own. That evening, she returned home to find the locks had been changed. She pounded on the door, calling David's name, but no answer came. Instead, a neighbor handed her an envelope containing a single key and a note. "Your belongings are in storage. The address is inside. This house is no longer yours." Her hands trembled as she stared at the message. How had everything unraveled so quickly? Only days earlier, she'd believed David would forgive her, that he would always step in to fix her mistakes. But the man she had underestimated was now dismantling her life piece by piece. David's retaliation wasn't driven by emotion alone. It was calculated. He had enlisted Ava, a trusted confidant who had noticed the cracks in his marriage long before he did. Together, they built a plan to make sure Emily felt every ripple of her betrayal. In Ava's dimly lit apartment, they sat surrounded by legal files and timelines. "You're certain about this?" Ava asked. David's expression was firm. "She wanted freedom. I'm giving her exactly what she asked for." Ava smiled, her eyes glinting with respect. "You're not just leaving David. You're making sure she never forgets what she lost." Emily's new reality came crashing in. Her bank accounts were frozen, tied up in legal disputes. Friends who had once been her lifeline began to distance themselves, wary of the chaos surrounding her. Even Eric, the man she had risked everything for, stopped answering her calls after David's investigator paid him a visit. One night, Emily appeared at David's office, makeup streaked from tears. "David, please," she whispered, clutching his arm. "I made a mistake. I see that now. Let me fix this." His gaze was cold. "A mistake, Emily? No. This was a choice. And now you get to live with it." While Emily spiraled, David thrived. His renewed confidence carried into his career, earning respect from colleagues. Even Ava began to see him differently. One quiet evening over dinner, she leaned in. "You've changed, David, stronger, sharper." He gave a faint smile. "I had to. Emily didn't just betray me. She made me face the truth about myself." Ava's hand found his, warm and steady. "She might have broken you, but you're the one rebuilding." Emily kept sinking deeper. Desperation pushed her toward bad choices, each one pulling her further from the life she'd once known. She took a part-time job at a diner, the only place willing to hire her after David's lawyer revealed her infidelity and financial recklessness in court. Every day, She endured the whispers of coworkers and the judgmental glances of customers who recognized her as that woman. Late one night after a shift, she scrolled through old photos, holidays, vacations, her and David smiling with their arms around each other. She sobbed quietly, pressing the phone to her chest. Regret was a relentless weight, growing heavier by the day. Eric didn't escape unscathed. David's investigator ensured his own indiscretions reached his employer, clients, and family. Rumors spread quickly, and within weeks, Eric was cut off. No promotions, no allies, his personal relationships collapsing. The final blow came when his girlfriend, unaware until then, packed her things and left. Not long after, he left town, abandoning a wrecked reputation behind him. On a crisp winter afternoon, David unexpectedly crossed paths with Emily in a grocery store parking lot. He had stopped to buy a bottle of wine for dinner with Claire, his new girlfriend, when he saw her struggling to start her battered car. For a moment, he considered walking away, but he didn't. "David," she breathed, her voice breaking. He stood still, his expression unreadable. "I didn't expect to see you here." Emily dropped her gaze. "This is my life now. I guess I deserve it, don't I?" David's jaw tightened. He wasn't a cruel man, but he couldn't deny the quiet satisfaction of seeing her humbled. "We all live with the choices we make, Emily." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I'm sorry, David. For everything. I was selfish, blind. I don't even know who I am anymore." He sighed, the anger long gone, replaced by calm resolve. "I hope you find a way forward. But whatever we had, it's over. You need to accept that." Without waiting for her reply, he turned and walked away, leaving her in the cold. David's life with Claire blossomed. They moved in together, their relationship grounded in trust, laughter, and respect. Claire's steady presence helped him heal wounds Emily had left. For the first time in years, he felt peace. One night, as they sat by the fireplace in their cozy home, Claire rested her head on his shoulder. "You're a good man, David," she murmured softly.